Hello everyone and welcome to the EVN Disrupt podcast. My name is Nishdat Zaturyan. I'm the editor of the Creative Tech section here at EVN Report. Our guest today was Aram Kocharyan, the founder and CEO of Layerswap, a blockchain startup based here in Armenia. We spoke about Aram's journey as an engineer, how he entered the blockchain space, and what problems Layerswap is working to solve. We also discussed a new initiative that he and other members from Armenia's crypto community have started to advance the state of cryptography research in Armenia. Aram, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Hey everyone, nice. Thank you for inviting me here. It's really awesome, and I'm very excited to tell all the horrible stories that you met like during the way of founding a startup. So
awesome. I think this is going to be one of our more interesting conversations.
Yeah, let's try. I will try my best.
Yeah. Aram, let's start with a little bit of your background. How'd you get into the blockchain space?
Very hard question. So from where do you want me to start?
Let's start with your university years. What'd you study?
I studied at the Yerevan State University, like applied mathematics, but I dropped out.
Okay.
Oops. Yeah.
What year did
Actually,
you drop
this is a
out?
very interesting story I'm going to tell you. So I was really good at engineering, like starting from maybe 14 or 15 years old. So I enjoyed programming. It was like all in my blood. So then I went to university, and the thing that I was expecting from university was, I'm going to meet like similar people like me.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. Like all the time we are going to code, etc., etc. And then one of my programming professors, like first day, right? He entered into room and like, no hello, how are you guys? Just nothing. Like with this very sad face that like we are going to kill him, this kind of face. And he just started talking about his topic. Started talking, like no one is listening, and everything is continuing. And I'm sitting there, he's explaining something, I'm trying to understand what is happening. I didn't understand anything. Then he actually was explaining, what is SQRT? It's So he was explaining this, and I had like very natural question, like how the fuck this works.
Yeah.
And I asked this during the lecture, and he looked at me like I was like the worst horrible person in the world, and say, go home and learn it in the home. You don't have to ask questions here.
Right.
And I was okay.
So what's the point of being here?
Yeah, and I was like, honestly, it was not something like I was thinking it rationally. Now I'm thinking it rationally why everything happened. But at that time, I was just impulsive, right? So someone like said something like this to me. I was like, okay, I'm not going to learn here. I went playing games.
Mm-hmm.
I spent like 2 years playing games. And then I went to army, came back from army and started learning all myself, and then I started being software engineer for more than 10 years already.
What year of university did you end up dropping out?
Oh, it's first
year.
From first part, like how you say it.
The first year,
first semester,
you dropped out, and you went to the army. You served for 2 years.
No, I played games. This is very important
played games
thing.
first,
I played about 1 year games.
What were you playing?
I was playing mainly Dota.
Yeah.
Dota 2.
Yeah. Did that?
At that time, there was Dota 1 actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you say that was so important for you?
Playing games is a very important thing for the life.
Okay.
It's super
Explain.
important thing because even for startups, I will say this for the startups, right? For the startups, the first thing to do is to understand in what game you are right now. It's very important because you always are in some kind of game.
Yeah.
You have to understand the game. You have to understand the rules of the game, and you have to be very good at this game if you want to win. And basically why this is very important is, beside that it's letting you to have a very good decisions during your like startup path.
Yeah.
Also, it's making you more, let's say, you are not taking more stress out of something because you're just fucking playing a game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if someone says no to you, okay, fuck you. This is this game, right? So yeah, it's very important. It's just mindset, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's very important mindset. Yeah.
And especially if it's a strategy-based game like Dota, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally the same game.
Yeah.
You have some decisions, you do these decisions, you are not sure that these decisions are going to be the perfect decisions.
Yeah.
But you have to act fast, and have to act precisely.
Yeah.
And if you do good things will happen.
Yeah. Do you think playing games sparked your interest in just being involved in engineering and computers as well, or Was that separate?
No, I think it's separate.
Yeah.
I think there is some relationship between games and between developing,
Yeah.
but overall, I think games are more about. I think games are more about like to living your life correctly. I believe so. Yeah.
Fascinating. Then you ended up going to the army, coming back. You started working as an engineer. What type of companies were you working at?
It's a very small company. They were doing software engineering for ERP systems. You know, ERP is the
Resource planning.
Yeah. So this was my start that I started doing, and this was basically the place that I started discovering myself, because I didn't understand who I am.
Yeah.
And once I joined this company, I was thinking like I am the worst person in the world in terms of I can't do anything.
Right.
Like I am college dropout and etc. I just know how to play games, right?
How'd you end up getting the job, even though you were a dropout?
Oh yeah, I just went to the interview.
Yeah.
So the guy who was this very nice guy, so he was asking me questions like, "You dropped out," and yes, I dropped out, and he's this is horrible and etc. But he asked some questions, and I asked for like I'm answering you, and I don't know, he just liked me.
Awesome.
Yeah, no background at all.
Yeah.
But I honestly, but at that time I didn't have degree, but honestly, I had very much experience in computers and development.
Programming,
so,
yeah. What year was that? Your first job?
2009.
2009. Okay. Do you remember when you first discovered Bitcoin or blockchains?
Oh yeah, it was 2015.
2015.
14. Yeah,
Okay.
14.
What was your first experience with it? How'd you come across blockchains?
Oh, I knew about Bitcoin for a long time, actually, long before that, but I didn't have like much deeper understanding about this.
Yeah.
So the first real interaction was one of my friends raised capital to build a centralized exchange like Binance or like Kraken and Coinbase.
In Armenia?
The guy is Armenian. He was in Chicago, but he actually hired me here. So he said, like, "Can you build a centralized exchange?"
Yeah.
And at that time, and I think it's going to be very good advice to everyone, like the junior software engineers. So you never say no. Whoever saying you like, "Can you build this?" Your answer is always yes, no matter it's like you know how to do it or not. You say yes, and then you eat shit, but you do it. Yeah.
There's no better way to learn.
Yeah. So he asked me, "Can you do it?" It's honestly, it's very super complex system, right? So basically, like centralized exchange is two big complex system. One system is trading engine, which you can see in running on Nasdaq, like everywhere. It's very complex system. This order books, how the order is going to be executed in market and etc.
The market makers.
Yeah, market makers and etc. And also the second biggest complex thing is the integrations with blockchains. So you have to understand very well Bitcoin, Ethereum, and not only Bitcoin and Ethereum, there are like 100 more layer ones, and you have to understand all of them so you can integrate them into.
Because when you're buying a coin from the exchange, that still needs to be transferred from some wallet to the customer's wallet, right?
Yeah, it's more specifically the interaction with blockchains for centralized exchanges are happening during only deposit and withdrawal. So once you are doing a deposit of Bitcoin, then there is interaction with blockchain. And then when you bought Bitcoin and then you withdraw, then you have your Bitcoin.
So before this, did you have any blockchain development experience? How'd you learn it?
I don't know.
Around,
just trying
at it and stuff. Yeah,
just trying. Yeah.
I think that's a super important culture to develop in Armenia. A lot of times when I interact with junior engineers in Armenia, I get the sense that they feel like they need to go read these 10 books or do all these courses and work for 5 years at this company before they can even try doing this project. But the best way to actually learn to fast track all of that and go from 0 to 1, as they say, is to just dive in and, as you said, eat shit and just figure it out along the way and learn that so much faster.
Yeah, totally, exactly. And basically,
but there's a fear of failure, I feel like, especially here. Often.
It's in general for life and etc. But it's game, right? You just like lose a game and you can start a new one. Right?
And what's the worst that could happen? Like especially if you're 22, 23 years old, like you're gonna be fine.
Nothing worse going to happen. It's actually very fascinating. Like 18 years old, 19 years old, they are talking about life like their life is going to end. Oh, come on.
You're 19.
You
haven't even started yet. Yeah, no, that's super interesting. So the centralized exchange ever end up launching?
Yeah, it ended up launching. We actually had very horrible stories there. Once we got hacked, and we basically lost about $1 million of user funds.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy day.
Were you a founder of this company?
No, I was director of engineering.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's actually a very interesting story. So we built a centralized exchange. We shipped this exchange. Everything is running. Everything is fine. We are getting our traction. A lot of users coming in, a lot of volume, etc. It's very fun. And my founder is telling me, "Hey, Aram, you've done really good job. So I am paying your trip. Come over to US.
Yeah.
We'll like have fun here." So he's buying me tickets. I'm flying to US. We are going to Vegas, and the first day we enter to Vegas, I'm like, "Oh, casinos, Vegas, oh, what is happening here?" and etc. And exactly the first day we entered Vegas, I'm receiving some notifications in my phone. So as a software engineer, you basically always connect your phone to some logs or alert.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing like a lot of like transactions, and the first reaction for me is like, okay, so it's maybe a lot of users.
Yeah.
But it was very suspicious. I went to my room and I started digging deeper, and I found out that we've been hacked.
Yeah.
It was horrible, man. So yeah, I went to my founder and said, okay, so we are hacked. He is like, how much we lost? Like I say, it's about $1 million. And yeah, it was very horrible thing. But I think we managed to do it very good. So the problem there was that it was totally my failure. So I mean, you are software like director of engineering, right? So if something wrong is the software, so you are responsible for it. And basically, I knew the guy who wrote this piece of code that caused the problem. And I was always about this thinking in my head, should I tell him this or shouldn't I tell him this? Because this very hard problem, right? So you can tell him, you done this problem, so see how important it is to write a correct code, right? So it will be very learning lesson for him. But what if it will break him? Right? Because, I mean, it will be very stressful thing for him to handle. I end up not telling him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
If he listens to this podcast, he might know.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not telling names, right?
Is the exchange still around?
So exchange got sold to one Ukrainian guy, very rich guy. Mm-hmm. And this guy was basically, he used to run traditional like Forex exchanges.
Okay, yeah.
And he was thinking how to enter to to blockchain world. Yeah. And he basically bought the company and
took it from there.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's get to your startup today. By the way, before we do that, I mean, anyone in Armenia or just in general who's listening to this and is early on in their career should really take a lesson from you that, look, you took on that project, you were director of engineering, and you had something that, as you say, was really a big mess up that was on you. But it didn't end your career.
Oh, come on. No, of
your
course
career
not.
is way ahead now than it was back then. You're a founder, you've raised millions, and you're on your way to doing
Of
course not.
Of course not. And it's actually changed you. Yeah. So the important lesson here is if you handle something that is relatively very hard for you to handle, for example, at that time, losing $1 million for my failure was a relatively very hard thing for me to handle. It's not right now, but it was at that time. If you face something like this, if you come out of this like clean in terms of you like accept your failure and you say I am human, man, like I can be wrong, right? It's possible. Then you are no more in fights with you, and it's making things more easy. Yeah, of course. I think I can do more, like maybe 100 more fuck ups and still be in the surface of the water, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, if you never try to do something in which there's a risk of messing up, then you might as well not live your life.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a very good point.
Awesome. Okay, so let's get to Layerswap. Are there any important experiences that we didn't touch on or before getting to Layerswap? Or
well, I'm not sure.
Any other blockchain experience before starting your company?
No, that's pretty much it. So honestly, I think also this is very important for our listeners as well. I never owned any crypto asset, and I don't even own right now. I own right now multi-million company right now in blockchain space, but I don't own any crypto right now.
yourself.
Yeah, and the reason I am saying, and I always say this, I said it in a couple of meetings as well, a couple of panel discussions. So it's very important to right now focus on technology. Don't focus on speculations.
And the values of the coins.
So the only thing that we have to do right now, we have to better understand the technology, not to better understand what is Bitcoin price. It doesn't matter right now.
Yeah. A few years pass and you end up starting Layerswap along with your co-founders. Tell us the founding story. Why did you guys decide to do a company in this space?
Yeah, so we are three very good friends, actually, Bobken, Ruben, and me. We've been working together for all these companies that I said to you. We've been starting together. And we always have this dream, to be honest. It was not dream, maybe.
Doing a startup?
Yeah, to just, it was the goal to fund a good startup. It was, we were gathering together, generating some random ideas.
Yeah.
Trying to do something, etc. I don't know. I bought maybe like more than 100 domains, like for other startups. But and I think the craziest thing is that we are looking back, and the Layerswap is maybe not the best of ideas. Yeah, we had like better ideas, but the problem that we have back then was we were focused on ideas. It's not important at all. Yeah, it's ideas. Like everyone can have ideas. Like everyone, literally everyone. Just go outside, just pick a random guy in the street, ask something. He will have a crazy good idea. Yeah. Then what?
Yeah. It's execution that matters.
Yeah, it's execution, and also the craziest thing is that you have to work good with your co-founders.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard. Once you get some money into your bank account, once you get some partners into account, once you are playing a bit more complex and big game, there are always rising a lot of concerns. Like a lot of concern. It even like we are friends. We are like they are one of my best friends right now.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of horrible discussions, man. Horrible. Like I don't know. Like if someone told me that you are going to have these discussions, I will say, "It's no way. I can't have these kind of discussions with them." Yeah. And it was very challenging to handle this. Yeah, it's very important.
Do you mean horrible conversations? Like it's horrible topics to discuss?
Horrible topics. Yeah.
Can you give an example?
Yeah, I can give you an example. So we had this idea. So we raised a lot of money actually, and we were thinking. Personally, I was thinking, okay, so we have a lot of money. So we know how to grow the company, we know who to hire, and etc., etc. But beside the business, beside the startup, we as individuals have some social responsibility over some areas, over our community.
Yeah.
And I was having this kind of pressure on me that I have to like invest in small projects. I have to donate in some projects, etc. I have huge like pressure in me from me.
Yeah. Like you feel the need to give back.
And my other co-founder was not feeling in this way at all. He was telling this is not the way that the world works. Even if you donate, even if you give just random donation, it's not going to help. He was telling me you have to create a better market, so it can naturally and organically build, right? I was not believing it, but I think it ends up that he was right and I was wrong, because honestly, so I done a lot of contributions since last 1 year. So I am not going to tell the names, but I done a lot of contributions and all of them fucked up, all of them, because it was very easy money for them.
Yeah.
It was very easy, and when they received this money, they were thinking, okay, so right now we are the gods of the world, and they started doing, a lot of successful people actually are telling, I not consider me successful yet, but a lot of very successful people, what are they telling is, don't go to the skies if you have like some few successes. You always have to be like in the ground.
Yeah.
So you don't have to think big about yourself. It's horrible thing to do.
It's the problem of getting money before you're ready to get money.
Yes.
I mean, the projects. That
exactly.
That's a problem that I think is as old as time. Okay, so tell us about Layerswap. What is it that you guys do?
Yeah, so at Layerswap, we are right now building an infrastructure for blockchain scaling solutions. And to better understand what we are doing, we have to go back to understand what is blockchain itself and in this context. So basically what I love to explain what is the blockchain, it just trustless, decentralized database, and that's it. And it's the only database that's running in a couple of nodes. There are some algorithms that are making sure that no one can fuck up this database.
Yeah.
So it's basically just very big, very, very big database, like distributed among all the world, right?
Yeah.
And then if you see here, like you basically have one database and you have like 1,000 applications running on this database, right? So it's very natural to see that this is a huge problem. Right now you have 1,000 applications. What if you have 100,000 applications, right?
Right.
Your database is still one.
Yeah.
And one notable thing to add here is the database is not only storing the data. Actually, back then, when we were doing like MySQL databases or SQL Server databases at that time, we used to write stored procedures.
Mm-hmm.
You know about them?
No.
You basically write a code inside the database, which is getting executed. So basically, computation and storing the data is inside the database.
Right.
So it's exactly the case with blockchain and especially with Ethereum. So the computation, whatever your application is computing, let's say it's computing some average number, right?
Yeah.
Is inside the database. So you can see here, like if you have like 100,000 or million applications, like all this load is going to end up into Ethereum.
Right.
Yeah, maybe like very smart developers actually invented a layer 1 term. So basically it means that this is a layer 1. This is layer 1 most trusted, most decentralized blockchain, Ethereum. And then they said, okay, so let's take out computation into application and just write data into the database.
Right.
And we used to do back the same with the software.
Classical.
In the classical world. We used to do the same. We initially wrote all these stored procedures inside database, then we took them out into our applications. So we don't add a lot into the database. So taking them out into the applications is what means layer 2s.
Right. So the layer 1 is the fundamental level of that's the original blockchain. That's the Ethereum blockchain or the Bitcoin blockchain. And layer 2 are these applications that sit on top that take care of the actual like heavy computing that needs to happen, free up the computation resources on the original blockchain and make things work more efficiently and faster.
Exactly.
Okay. So you guys are a layer 2 company.
No. So what we are doing is, if you understand all of this, so you can see the other problem here. So you have layer 1 and you have multiple layer 2s, right?
Yeah.
And you all share the same asset. So you share Ethereum between all these chains. So let's say there is layer 2A, layer 2B, and you have layer 1. So you have your Ethereum in your layer 1, or even in your Binance account, or even in Coinbase. And you want to move your Ethereum into this layer 2 application. Let's say it's some game. You want to deposit your Ethereum into this game, right? So what you have to do is you have to withdraw your amount from your, let's say, Binance to your layer 1 wallet, like blockchain wallet. And then it's called bridging. So you bridge from layer 1 to layer 2. So this is the regular process. It's actually a very horrible process for users. So this is one of the things that we solve. So what you can do with Layerswap, you basically go to Layerswap, select from where you want to move money to what is the destination, and we take care of everything, what is happening under the hood.
So you do the bridging?
Under the hood.
Got it. So what is the primary problem that you guys are solving? Is it just making the whole process easier for the average user?
Basically, we have two directions as a company. So first one is this consumer product, like problem with bridging. So we have two problems that we are solving. It's user experience, that is horrible process for users. And also it's very expensive. If you do like all these withdrawals or this bridging in your own, it's very expensive. And we also solve this problem with costs.
So you make the transaction cheaper?
Yeah, we make the transaction cheaper because we batch all those transactions. We do some transaction pooling, so we end up paying less than they will pay if they are doing one transaction.
Got it.
Yeah, and the second part of the problem is actually the problem that we discovered during running Layerswap. And I think this is very important thing to note. Like as a startup, once you go deeper into some direction in your market, you can't have a perfect idea from a start, right? So you start discovering very new things, very new problems. Your problem is becoming more bigger, more shaped, more needy, more painful for everyone. So you are starting discovering all of this. And what we discovered is, let's say if you are an institution. Let's say basically you are a centralized exchange, or you are market maker, or you are a bank even who wants to use blockchain. So what it means for you is it means that you are going to deploy a lot of your capital in all these different layer 2 projects, like 100 different layer 2 projects, if you want your users to interact with these layer 2s, right?
Right.
So, and then you discover that as an institution, you will have a problem of managing this liquidity in these all layer 2 projects. And what it means is, let's say, if I'm a Binance, I support multiple layer 2s.
Okay.
What it means is I allow my users to do deposit and withdrawals in layer 2s, right?
Okay.
And different layer 2s. So users will do deposit in one layer 2 and do withdrawals in another layer 2. So you will end up running out of liquidity in a layer 2 when users done a lot of withdrawals.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So what you have to do is you have to detect this. You have
Right.
to detect that right now you are running out of liquidity here. You have to move money from place that you have a lot of money to this
Right.
layer 2. And what usually institutions do, they hire like some engineers or some like operators that monitor this manually, decide when they have to move money. So this is the problem that we solve with them. We automate this process.
Can you explain why there would be a liquidity issue?
Why they have the liquidity
Like
issue?
for if people are moving money on layer 2, it's their coins or tokens that they're moving, right? What causes there to be a liquidity issue? Like if the coins are there on the layer 2, they could just take whatever they have out, right?
Yeah, so let's say I have two users, like I'm centralized exchange. I have two users and I support two layer 2s, Arbitrum and Optimism. I support both of them.
Okay.
So right now, my user depositing Ethereum in Arbitrum.
Okay.
So what it means is he transferred from his layer 2 Arbitrum account to our exchange. In exchange, I show him Ethereum, right? It's Ethereum. I don't show it's Arbitrum's Ethereum.
Right.
It's just Ethereum. And then the second user want to do withdrawal. He or she has also Ethereum, and he want to do withdrawal to Optimism.
Okay.
So if I want to do withdrawal to Optimism, I don't have Ethereum in Optimism, right? So this guy deposited in Arbitrum.
Got it.
So it means I have to pre-deploy liquidity in all the chains that I support.
Got it. Yeah.
And then once users do deposit and withdrawals, I have to rebalance them so they keep in the same level.
Right. So you make sure you have enough resources to support it all. And you guys, what do? You offer monitoring for the resources?
We automate the whole process. So you just enable our enterprise solution.
Yeah.
You just enable our enterprise solution, and basically it automatically detects when you are running out of liquidity, and it also detects where you have more than enough liquidity, and automatically move from here to there.
So it manages the resources completely.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Let's talk a little bit about applications that run on layer 2, because I think a lot of people have heard of cryptocurrencies and the blockchain space as an investment opportunity, but are less informed about what sort of applications run on blockchain today. Can you give us some examples of sort of average applications that people are using?
Just NFT marketplace.
NFTs, right?
Yeah. It doesn't make sense right now, honestly. Yeah, and the way you should think about this is you should think it's very early right now to understand what can happen with this technology, what kind of projects can be built on top of this technology. Yeah. The best example is right now maybe NFT marketplace, but there are some promisable projects that are building games. Mm-hmm. And what is interesting about games, if you played some games where there is a market inside the game, where you can buy something and sell something, actually blockchain is very, very good thing to do. It's very natural to solve this marketplace with blockchain. Yeah. So I think there are right now a lot of games that are leveraging this. Yeah. And I think the next big thing is going to be these NFT games or whatever you call them, but the games that basically have an open market which is running in blockchain.
An open market running on blockchain.
Yeah.
You said something really important earlier. You said right now we shouldn't be talking about the dollar value of Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin, etc. We should be focusing on building the technology that will one day make these things really valuable. So now we've seen, a huge crash in the crypto market, and a lot of the people who really who really believe that blockchain will one day solve some real problems in the world, that's what they're sort of pressing on, that, what we should really be focusing on is building the technologies that will actually make this useful. What are some interesting things you're seeing in the space? Like, can you give us some examples of some of those architectural solutions that are being worked on right now? Or maybe even let's just define what the problems are. What are the things that need to be solved in order to move this technology forward?
Yeah, I think the biggest problem right now is so again I will talk about technical problems.
Yeah.
I don't because I think you understand very well that there are maybe a lot of political issues, a lot of like resistance from
Right.
all over the institution. So I can't talk about them. I don't understand it, but I will talk about technical issues that we are facing. And there are basically two biggest issues, right? So the first issue is user experience, how users are interacting with all these blockchains, layer 2s, and etc. This is part of the problem that Layerswap is right now solving. And basically, we've been running Layerswap for more than 6 months. And I talked maybe with thousands of our customers, and like I looked at their issues. I tried to understand what they're. It's very fascinating actually, because you see like layer 2s are maybe like a bit advanced technology for a regular user to use, but our users were using layer 2 technology, but you can expect from them to have like at least basic understanding of blockchain, right? Because they are using some like advanced things. It's no at all. So they don't understand anything from this technology,
even though they're in the space,
and it is creating a lot of risks. So I mean, if they don't understand, okay, they will learn, but the problem is the stakes are high. You have your own money, and if you don't understand the technology, you are ending to lose this money by the end of the day. So it's very, I don't know, like for how many users we recovered their funds, we helped them to overall understand what they are doing. But this is the biggest problem actually for mass adoption, I believe. The biggest problem is
education, just like a knowledge level.
No, I don't think it that way. Honestly, I think it's from opposite way. So you don't create a very complex iPhone, then say, okay, you are not using this because you are not educated, right?
It's just too hard to use.
You should do the opposite. You should create a hardware that is very easy to use and people will use it. So I think the problem is more in technical side. So we have to bring all these technologies into the level that is very easy for average user to use.
Average consumer to use. Yeah, even something like sending currency from just one person to another, like my aunt or someone is never going to figure out that this is the wallet address and they have to go to their wallet address and copy it and paste this like 26 digit, it's just never going to happen. So building on top of this tech, like building the sort of human layer on top of the tech that makes it super easy for the average consumer to use is what I think is super important.
It's very challenging actually. So, and I think there are two ways that we can, either we will solve this problem, or blockchain and all these relative technologies will, I think they will become more infrastructure thing that will be used by banks. And
just
then
for fiat currencies.
they just use the blockchain same technology because they have the same problems, right? Like let's say they have the same trust problem. I mean, you used to do wire transfer for sure, right? So how wire transfer use is like it forces a bank to have an account in this intermediate bank. This is the trust problem. They have this problem, and if they run under the hood blockchain, all these problems will be solved. So the second option is it will be adopted with like bigger institutions, and then we will just have the same banking applications, but under the hood
it'll have blockchain. So are you hopeful that there's a lot of good work being done to sort of create, as I said, that human layer for blockchain tech?
It's inherently a very hard problem to solve, so I don't know honestly.
To be determined. Okay, let's get back to Layerswap for a second. A few months ago, I think you guys announced that you just raised an investment round. How much have you guys raised in total?
So we officially closed 1.5 million pre-seed round. Right now,
that was last year? Or when was the 1.5 million?
About 7 months ago.
Okay.
And right now we are closing our seed round for 5 million.
Are you guys expanding the team in Armenia? How big are you guys now?
So we are around 15 engineers right now. We are looking into expanding. We don't want to rush it right now because if you look at like a lot of companies are doing this very wrong, and then they are just laying off their employees. And how it happens is that you get a lot of money and okay, so I have a lot of money. What I have to do? Of course, I have to do hiring.
Yeah.
You start hiring like a crazy, and then you end up not having a work to do with this like
people.
So it's very hard. So we are taking it a bit more slowly, and also the challenge for us is right now any company is depending on a core team, right?
Yeah.
It's and the core team is not 2-3 people. It's at least like 10 to 15 people.
Yeah, it's your engineering managers.
Yeah, it's very important to build this core team. So once you build a core team, okay, next you can hire like crazy. But right now, we try to hire only the best.
Yeah,
and it's actually very horrible in our market for hiring.
Is your entire team in Armenia?
Yes.
Yeah. I think another thing is with the current state of the market, especially for startup funding, a lot of people are being a lot more conservative with just their resource management, because the next round might come later than people have been used to for the last sort of 10, 11 years.
Yeah, it depends how much you raised.
Yeah.
Because it was very possible that we didn't raise this round at all, so we were prepared to that.
Yeah.
Actually, this is the second thing to do. So I am like right now very proudly saying, we are closing 5 million. But honestly, so we've been preparing for a couple of months for not raising at all.
Mm-hmm.
So we're preparing ourselves for this situation, and you are very right. So in this case, we were super conservative on what we have to do, what we don't have to do.
Yeah. And recently you guys landed a pretty big partner, or a customer, I guess I should say, in Starkware. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I still don't know how it happened.
Yeah.
So Starkware is basically valued more than 8 billion.
Yeah.
It's huge amount of money. It's huge company.
Yeah.
I don't know how it happened. So I was in Denver. I met someone from Starkware team. He was some guy from France. He was talking very fast. I was not understanding anything what he was telling about. And I just honestly told him, I said, man, I don't understand anything you are telling me.
Yeah.
And he's, okay, so let's meet in the evening. We met in the evening. He drank like 2 or 3 beers. And he was talking very good. I said to him, you're talking very good. You should have this beer too more often. And then it's literally it. We just casually talked about like a lot of random stuff. He was like, I should like introduce you to our CEO. I said, okay, please do. And then he introduced us to CEO of Starkware. I jumped into call, I'm like small, like company in Armenia, like some weird guy, like I don't know. It was super weird, but I was like, okay, I joined the call.
Yeah.
It was super, I don't know. It was super honest, super helpful, super, I don't know that kind of people, honestly. I was not imagining that this kind of discussion even could happen.
Yeah.
So it was very easy guy. He started talking about like what they are doing, asked some question, what you are guys building. He actually tried Layerswap before, and he was like, this is very nice idea. We just talked around it. And this was the place actually our relationship began, just between me and their CEO. We just started talking. I asked him a couple of questions weekly because he was like very good at fundraising and talking with VCs, and I was asking some advices from him. Yeah. And we just built this relationship, which eventually end up to having a relationship as a company. And it was, I don't know what is it. I think like whenever I try to understand, because you have to try to understand, right? Because as a founder, you have to understand something, if what happened, why it happened, right?
Yeah.
I believe it just comes to just persons, it's very harsh thing to say, but it's end up like being just how persons interact with each other. Like
you get lucky and 2 people just mesh and
that's it.
So can you tell us a little bit about what exactly Starkware does and how they'll be using your technology?
So Starkware is actually the kind of company that I wish that someday we will have a similar company in Armenia. So a lot of founders in Armenia are talking about this, like including founders of Crisp and many others, but I don't really recall David talking about this. But so it's very important to build a company on top of scientific value.
Right, a deep tech company.
Yeah, it's very crucial thing to do because, So I'm not telling anything bad. With Layerswap, of course, we will reach some place. Like maybe we will have 1,000 employees. Yeah, it's not a problem, but there is some limit, right?
Yeah.
So you have to create like, how to say it, like global value maybe, right? So you
Right.
have to create some advancement which will end up being your company more like solving more big problems and etc. So this is process that we should go.
Yeah.
And that's the one of the reasons that we want to fund the very first crypto research and development lab right now. I have a guy, maybe a lot of listeners may know Aram Kocharyan. So we are trying together actually to wrap up very good crypto lab here. It's super hard, honestly, because
like a pure research lab that does academic work.
Pure research lab. Some of interesting things here is like even Layerswap is going to fund this lab. We decided on this that Layerswap can never give any tasks to this lab.
Right.
So the lab
is going focus on the science.
They can do whatever they want. The only thing that Layerswap can do is whatever we already done is maybe introduce to some research lab, someone from Starkware from research lab, so they can guide us and etc. But there should be no any business interaction between these two entities, and this is very important because the research lab should be free to do whatever the fuck.
It's going to be a non-profit, just pure academic lab.
Yeah.
Amazing. Have you guys already started building this out?
We have right now one student right now already working for this lab.
Does it have a name?
Hike.
No.
The lab name. There is no formal lab yet.
Okay.
So there is no formal lab yet. So we are just in the process. So the story was, I called Aram. I said, like, okay, let's grab a coffee. So we grabbed coffee, and I'm telling him, okay, right now, please find for me like 20 students that can work for this. Like they can do just purely. He was like, are you crazy? It doesn't exist at all. And I'm like, what? How? It's very hard.
So this is cryptography research, right? Okay.
Yeah, purely.
Is Jivanyan involved in running the lab, or
yes,
because he's a PhD in the space, right?
He has PhD in this place. He's inventor for a couple of very good cryptographic solutions in the place. So he's very good at it. Yeah.
Is he gonna be the one managing the lab?
Yes. The initial plans is not final yet, but the initial plan. Right now he's managing this guy, but in the future, in the long run, he is going to end up leading everything. Yeah.
Amazing. By the way, is this going to be hosted in one of the universities in Armenia, or is it just going to be a completely independent?
I'm not sure. I will let this to Aram to know what is the better. Yeah.
Okay. What about educational initiatives? Like, is there a need for more master's programs or more PhD funding to make something like this work?
I don't know how this is going to end up in because I don't want to depend a lot with funding done from outside. So it's very easy for me to just do funding as a company. So I know like how much I can contribute for how long. And it will make a process very easily. And also there are a few crypto companies in Armenia that maybe they will want to participate into
in the
this.
Funding,
Because it's very good thing to do, and in couple of years maybe it will be very good thing for the company as well. Because if this research lab just finds a simple optimization, very simple optimization, we can use this simple optimization to build something really cool. Build something like Starkware.
Even more than that, I mean, if you just have more organizations like that just working on pure research, then some of those people, as the team grows bigger, might move to industry and start doing research at a company like Layerswap, or in the case of machine learning, they would go to CRISP and several other companies. So I think often people say things like, oh, how important science is for the development of the sector and the country and stuff. They sometimes, I think, don't really understand what the actual tangible value is. They think of it as just sort of basic research that maybe will get used or maybe it won't. But a lot of these companies, the foundation of it is some scientific development that has taken place in a lab somewhere. So having that activity in Armenia is super important.
It's exactly in case of a Starkware, because I was astonished about this. The Starkware was built just over a simple optimization, just very simple optimization, scientific optimization. Of course, right now it has a lot of like advanced algorithms inside it. It's very complex right now. But initially, it just started from couple of few like improvements.
Yeah.
It's super important.
So we got sidetracked a little bit. Tell us exactly what Layerswap will be doing for Starkware. What's the collaboration?
Oh, so basically, as they are layer 2, Starkware is basically running a layer 2.
Got it.
We are this infrastructure provider for their users. So we allow their users to onboard into their layer 2 from centralized exchanges. And also, we are an infrastructure provider for any other institutions that want to work with StarkNet.
Got it. Okay, awesome. We're about ready to wrap up, but before we sat down for the podcast, we were talking about some stuff here about EVN report, and you asked me this question I was super impressed with. You were asking me questions, and then at the end you asked, is there anything I didn't ask that I should have? Is there anything that I didn't ask that I should have asked too?
Yeah, I think there is one question, and the question is from where I learned that question.
Okay, tell me.
Yeah. So in the last couple of years, not couple, maybe 2 years, 1.5 years, what my daily job is answering questions. So
ask what type of questions?
Questions from investors.
Okay.
Yeah, because if they want
answering questions. Okay.
Yeah, answering questions.
Yeah.
Imagine like it may be 2 or 3 person in a day.
Yeah.
So for a year, right? Recently, it was a week ago. One woman from one VC asked me this question after like all these discussions. He asked some questions, and in the end, he asked this question, and I was, oh my God, what kind of question is this? This is best question in the world,
awesome
because
question.
you allow your like whoever you are talking with, you allow him to feel satisfied that if there is something that I missed.
Yeah.
Feel free to say. It's super important question.
Yeah, no, I was really impressed. I'm going to start using it.
Yeah, that's a really good thing.
Okay, and my last question, where do you hope to see Layerswap in the next 5 to 10 years?
So I think we already have the direction that we are moving, and it's very established direction, I believe. Like basically providing the infrastructure, and I think that there are a few things that I want to accomplish. Basically, I want our infrastructure to be used by the biggest centralized exchanges. We have some traction on this. We basically talked with Kraken, Gemini, with Binance, and they are very interested on this. We don't have a deal yet, but we are moving forward on this direction.
Yeah.
And I think in 5 years, I at least want to be in top 10 exchanges. Layerswap should be used in their infrastructure. Yeah.
All right. This was a really fun conversation, and I learned a lot from it, and I'm really thankful, and I hope we'll have a chance to do it again in the future.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. John. It was really pleasure to talk with you. I hope it was fun. It was very fun for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of things that people can take away from this, even not just from the technical side, but just from your experience and your journey.
Just shitting around.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I think you should also say to not take it too seriously. It's just a game, right?
Sounds good. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks.